Walking down these empty streets, echoes of the past I meet. Lost and wandering for so long, searching for where I belong. Sunrise breaking through the night, guiding me back to the light. Every step feels like a prayer, promises hang in the air. Come back home, heal your heart, where the love never parts. Come back home, find your peace. In this place, your pain will cease. Memories of laughter and tears, answers to my deepest fears. In these walls I find my truth, washing away the years. Oh, the road was long and rough, but my spirit's had enough. Here in the sanctuary, healing feels extraordinary. Come back home, heal your heart, where the love never parts. Come back home, find your peace. In this place, your pain will cease.
Ladies, good morning, ladies. My name is Christian Winters, and welcome to the Dear Sister Podcast. Welcome this morning, ladies. We did the Dear Brother Podcast, 6 a.m. every morning. Now we're talking to the ladies. My show, my live show. I've been doing live shows, and some of you have been seeing the live shows, and thank you so much. Thank you. Let me start here. Thank you so much to all the ladies who've been subscribing to the Dear Sister Podcast. Thank you so much for... who am I, right? Who am I to start a podcast for women? Well, I'm your brother. That's what I am. And again, like I tell you ladies every week, I think that women need more men in their lives, a brother, a father, an uncle, someone who will give them something with nothing in exchange. My purpose for starting the Dear Sister Podcast was because I think a lot of sisters need direction, right? You have your girlfriends and they can give you good direction. You have your girlfriends, they can give you good advice. But I think it's nothing like a man, a brother, someone who loves you, cares about you, that wants to see what's best for you, that wants you to see what's best in you without needing anything in exchange. So that's why the Dear Sister Podcast exists. My name is Christian, and I'm here to share with you. I'm here to share with you about it. I wrote a book called The Soul of Sarah. You might have saw that on the first page. Let me put it up for you now. It's on Amazon.com right now. If you're interested, you can go get The Soul of Sarah right now. A lot of ladies have been growing and buying this book. I wrote this book right after I eulogized my mother, and God really gave me a revelation of the value. You know, I knew women were valued, but after I lost my mother, I really looked and said, what can I say to women, right? What can I say to women? And so I wrote this book about the soul of Sarah. It's about Abraham being the father of faith. Well, there's no way a man can be a father without a mother. And a lot of times we talk about Abraham, this father of faith, and he birthed dreams as far as the sand of the sea and the stars of the sky. Well, all that had to be birthed through a woman. So we can't talk about the value of a man or the seed of a man without talking about the absolute authority and the beauty of a woman's ability to create anything she desires. So that's why we exist. I want to get into it today. I want to talk about why self-love isn't selfish. Self-love isn't selfish. Let me see who's in the chat before we start. Good morning, my sisters. Good morning. Thank you for coming by. Let's talk about this morning. Let's talk about why self-love isn't selfish. Every woman's a nurturer. Every woman has the desire to give. I want to start out by saying this. Just because you are born a nurturer, lady, doesn't mean you have to nurture everybody who needs nurturing. Get that. I could cut the podcast off right now if you really get that. Every woman's born a nurturer. It doesn't mean she's called to nurture everything that needs nurturing. Y'all get that? Let me see if I can remember what I said. Right? Every woman's called to be a nurturer. You're born with it. It's an innate gift. But that doesn't mean you need to nurture everything you see that needs nurturing. Everything is not in your wheelhouse, sister. And I think a lot of you dear sisters get broken because you begin to believe that everything you see broken, because you can fix it or because you can nurture it or because you can love it, it means that that's in your assignment. It's not. Right. And that's why I didn't want my show to the Dear Sister podcast to just be about men and dating and brokenness. No, there's more to women than dating. There's more to you than being married to somebody else. Right. I think a lot of that was pushed in by religious systems. Religious systems make women feel like the greatest thing you can do is be married and have a baby. Well, that's not true. Is that great that you can do? Yes, it's great that you can have a baby. Right. Men can't do it. Right. It's great to be married and to be loved, but that is not the definition of your life, sis. The definition of your life is not to just be married and have children. What else is it about you? You see what I'm saying? And a lot of you have, because you didn't discover your gift before you got married or before you got into a dating situation, a lot of you have let your gift down to nurture the man you're trying to love or to nurture the children that God has given you. You have to understand that. Do you know that your gift is just as valuable to you, right? It's just as valuable. Your gift is valuable to you and it's valuable to God. And the person you connect with should be helping you develop your gifting. Right? Anytime, if you, let me throw this in here. If you are a single lady right now and you're dating a man that's not interested in your gifting, you need to go quickly. If you're with a man that could care less about your gifting, could care less about what you can do, you're in danger, sis. You're in danger. In danger of what? Well, Christian, he would never hurt me. Oh, no. If he never slaps you, punch you, kick you, throw you down the steps, he is harming you by not being involved or allowing you to be involved in what you were born to do. That's abuse. Oh, man. See, you call, oh, Christian, well, does he ever ask you about you? Right? Are you dating someone that asks about you? Are you surrounded by people that ask about you? Now let's talk about your girlfriends. Or if you have a bunch of girlfriends around you, love you to death, but are never interested in your passions, in the things that matter to you, you don't have a friend, sister. You have competition, right? If somebody loves you, they care about what you care about. So self-love, let's get into this self-love. And the reason why I'm going to that little rant I went into just now is because I think that a lot of you give more away than you're supposed to. Your whole life, listen, if in order for you to be strong as a woman, there has to be some self-preservation. There has to be. Man, I feel like talking to y'all today. There has to be self-preservation. You'll never be a strong woman. I believe in strong women. But you'll never be a strong woman until you believe in self-preservation, right? Because I'm going to tell you something. There's a difference between being a strong woman and a domineering woman. You know, the women that become, the women that turn into women that want to dominate, they're women that weren't never heard. See, you spent too much time around people, whether they be friends or people you were dating. You spent too much time around people who you never heard your passions. You grew up with maybe parents that never heard about your passions. They never cared about what you were about. See, eventually you become domineering, not because that's in your heart. You become domineering because you're trying to make place to be heard. Let me go in the chat before we start. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Niche Rose. Good morning, my sister. Good morning. See, you got to understand this, sisters. Again, self-love is not selfish, right? Self-love is not about, see, this is what I want you to understand. This is going to throw you off, and this is where y'all jump off the pod at this point. Self-love is not about prioritizing yourself at the expense of others. No. Don't think loving you has to cost somebody something, right? And loving you, guess what? In some people, it will cost them. If loving you makes people hate you, then you need to remove them from your life. I say it all the time to the Men on Dear Brother podcast and to you sisters right now. Anybody in your life that doesn't enjoy or appreciate seeing you rest could care less about you. They don't care nothing about you. Anyone who despises you resting doesn't care. That what that means is they don't want the best of you or for you. They just want the best from you, and they don't care whether it even comes from a dry well. You see, sisters, you got to see this. Let me tell y'all a story. Story time. My mother, she died at 62 years old. Pancreatic cancer took my mother in 10 months. I eulogize my mother. But one thing I really remember, my mom was she died at 62. She might have been 60, maybe 60 years old. And she went on a vacation with her girlfriends, right? They had this crew. My mom, when she retired, she had this crew called the Retired Ladies Crew. And they would go on different vacations, and every Wednesday they would go to a different restaurant somewhere. It was a cool crew. They had a really cool, dope crew, the Retired Ladies Crew. And one year my mom said, you know what? I'm going to go to Costa Rica. And I'm like, yes, because all I watched my mom do was take care of me and my sister and my dad and the church and everybody else my mom could come in contact with. She was a caretaker, right? Even not just even a nurturer, but a caretaker. She was a person that had sacrificial love. That's different, right? Some people have love, but then other people have sacrificial love, where their love for others costs them and they don't care about the cost. That's how my mom was. So my mom went on this vacation, and she said she came home and she was crying, and she had this smile. So I knew she had a story to tell, but she was so emotional. And she said, Chris, she said, son, I climbed a mountain while I was there. I said, Mom, what? You climbed a mountain? She said, yeah, son, I climbed a mountain. And she said, but the best thing about it is I was dirty. I said, Mom, what? Wait a minute. So again, she's crying. She's going off. She's telling me this story. And I'm so involved, and I'm listening to her tell this story. And she says, no, I was not supposed to climb the mountain. I was not supposed to be doing anything. She said we were going out to eat, and it was a white event. So all the retired ladies was in white. And she had this beautiful white two-piece on. And she said, but afterwards, she said, someone came and said, do you ladies want to climb a mountain? And she said, a lot of the ladies were like, yo, I'm not dressed for that. And da. My mom said she looked at herself. She considered her life. My God, I'm about to cry, man. She considered her life. She considered her children. She worked very hard. She put me and my sister through college. Her and my dad worked very hard. And she would get on that 18 bus and go down Center City and work hard every day. And she finally retires, right? And not only did my mother take care of us, my mother was a caretaker way early in her teenage years because her mother was sick when she was 16. And she had 3 brothers and sisters, so she had to take care of them. So she had been taking care of people since her teenage years. She got married early, took care of my dad, and then took care of us. And she said she looked at herself in all that white. She considered everything she did for everybody else. And she said, let's go. Let's climb this mountain. And I said, Mom, you didn't change your clothes? She said, no. She said, I didn't consider my clothes. She said, I didn't consider anything. She said, this was the first time that I could remember doing something for myself. And she said, Christian, I had dirt from my neck to my feet. She said, and I was so happy. Because I did it for myself. It took my mother 60 years to be concerned about herself. 60. And then she died of pancreatic cancer in 10 months at 62 years old. This is why I started the Dear Sister podcast, because I've watched women like my mother and many women just like you, who have raised your children. You have pursued everything. You've gone after everything. You've taken care of everybody. And then you feel like it's almost a sin to stop and take care of yourself. Now, I know some of you sisters right now is like, look, I do take care of myself. I get my hair done. I get my nails done. I spend too much money on weaves, right? But that's not self-care, sister. Getting your hair done and your nails done is not the epitome of self-care. Self-care is when you realize I have to prioritize myself in order to keep going. I have to prioritize what? My soul. See, you can prioritize your nails, your hair, and your toes. That's a good trifecta. That'll make you look good. But I got another trifecta, a better one. How about taking care of your mind, your will, and your emotions? How about getting because when y'all get manicures and pedicures, I got a manicure once or twice, but what I remember is they go down in there and they pull all the dead skin out, right? They make sure it's all clean and right. If that's necessary for your nails and necessary for your toes, the massage, right? They massage your feet, massage your hands for blood flow to make sure you're flowing right and everything's good. If you can do that for your hands and your feet, and you can go through a whole process to take care of your hair, right? Why is it that you don't see your mind, your will, and your emotions the same way? You understand? Some of you have spent massive amount of money taking care of one thing, but it's your soul, it's your inner woman that makes you really beautiful. Because some of you have dressed up, looked beautiful, had your hair, nails, toes, everything done, right? You got everything perfect, your dress is right, but you still don't feel good about you because you cannot outdress pain. Pain will come straight through that beautiful outfit, sis. Let me see who's in the chat. Let me see. Oh, goodness. All right. Look, y'all talking. What goodness, y'all really in here. Goodness, I thought I had. Oh, man. All right. All right. All right. Let me see. Right. All right. Good morning. Wow. Wow. Okay. Right. Right. Here. Look. I did it for myself. You see, sisters? That's important. What are you doing for you? What are you doing for you that fuels what you do for others? See, I'll never take away. God gave you nurturing, right? And some of you sisters is on Facebook. Some of you, my sisters, is on Facebook. Go over to YouTube right now. Subscribe for the Dear Sister podcast and hit the like button. Hit the like button. It tells other sisters this might be a show they want to be a part of, all right? So you sisters is on Facebook. I'm going to stay on Facebook, but I want y'all to go over to YouTube if you can. Look for the Dear Sister podcast. Hit that subscribe button, all right? Let me see. Who else is in the building? Let me see. Oh, y'all talking. Look, the community. Y'all talking. Yes. Let me see. Absolutely. Good day, Toya. Good day, my sister. Let me see. Yes. Tamika Cox. Yes, you cannot outdress pain. You can't cover it. You can listen, a lot of you have spent a lot of money trying to cover your pain, right? You convinced your girlfriend you were trying to look good, but Big Brother's here to tell you that you were trying to cover more. It was more than just, no. You were trying to cover up a feeling. Oh, man. Let me tell you something. I don't care how good the material feel on your skin. I don't care how good the smell right behind your ears. When you get home from that event, you still have to deal with the places in your life that you're unwilling to confront. Come on, sis. You still got to confront that area, right? And guess what? I'm going to say it from brother, right? I like I tell you all the time, you can get offended. I'm your brother. It's okay because I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you. You have to stop blaming other people for patterns in your life. Now, can someone hurt you, sis? Yes, absolutely. Can someone devour you? Absolutely, right? But when you see a pattern in your life where you were devoured over and over, right? At some point, you had to take your eye off of who done it. And you got to look at, why am I allowing this pattern? What hedge of protection have I taken away from myself? What did I sacrifice to have that friend, to keep that friend? See, we don't even got to talk about men right now, right? Some of you have friendship relationships that go up and down, up and down, up and down, not consistent, right? Because you know there's some things in you that you still have to confront. And that's okay. Confront it, sis. Confront it. The same way you ladies want men to confront our pain, you got to confront yours. I'm going to tell you, because from some of you single ladies, if you keep on blaming the men and the men and the men and the men, you're going to have another man that had the same problem, because the only issue sometimes, if you're the common denominator, sis, you got to slow down and confront yourself, right? But listen, confrontation is self-care. Let's get into it now. Self-care is confronting yourself. You know what? Because as a woman, you're saying, you know what? I'm not carrying this on any further. I'm not carrying this character that I've had to put on for people I've dated. Some of you have almost lost your mind because you've become a different person for every person you've dated. And if you're on your third person you dated, right? And you ladies are committed. You're not in it for 30 days, 60 days. If you get in a relationship, you're in it. The problem is, how many times did you contort yourself? Oh man, I'm cooking today. How many times did you contort yourself for Jim, then contort yourself for Tyreek, then contort yourself for Jesus? See, I had to give all the diversity, right? Jim, Tyreek, and Jesus. You contorted yourself so differently for now. Eventually, sis, you'll begin to lose who you are because there was not enough self-care. Again, you got your hair done, your nails done, your feet done, but did you get your mind done, your will done, your emotions done? That's why I started this podcast. Go to YouTube right now and hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. Okay? Self-love helps you set your boundaries in life. That's what self-love does. I love me more than what you're trying to do to me. And I love me more than even though I might feel like I need you in my life, I love me more than to allow you to come in and do what you need or get what you need. You understand, sisters? Because listen, what more do you have to give away? I'm gonna jump back in the chat because I know y'all in there hollering, huh? But what more of you do you have to get away before you see yourself as valuable? And let the truth be told, sisters, a lot of you gave away what you didn't want to give away. And I'm not just talking about X, right? Emotional, right? Because X is an act. It's an act. Boom, it's over. But a lot of you have given away more than your body. And I believe that a lot of you are hurt. It hurts more. Let me say it this way. Giving away your body would have hurt less than giving away your mind, your will, and your emotions. See, your body is one thing, and that's a rough space. But when you give a man your mind, your will, or your emotions, or you trade that in, forget men. When you give a friend, or some of you, I'm gonna tell you where some of your greatest pain come from, sisters. Some of your greatest pain comes right in your family. It comes from your siblings. It comes from your relationship with your mother. It comes from early rejection. A lot of you big ladies got little lady pain that you're still carrying. Right? And it's easy to blame who's in your life now, but every now and then, sis, you got to take a walk back to realize that some of the pain you've been carrying, you're 33, 42, 47, 45, 52, but you're carrying girl pain from 12 and 13. You still remember when somebody called you ugly at 15, and you never really recovered because there was nobody to push self-love, right? So now you said, I ain't never gonna call me ugly again. I'm gonna get all this together. But inside your mind, inside your will, you still are haunted by things that happened to you way early in life. That's why self-care is a necessity, because self-care allows you to begin to strain out negative voices in your life. Self-care gives you voice to talk back to. You understand? One of the greatest things I've seen in the scripture was when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And some of you remember this. Some of you know this story. If you don't, just listen to me. Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane. He was about to go to the cross and die. He said, look, this is rough, man. I don't know if I want to, I don't know. Look. Is there another way, bro? Because this is tough. And then another voice came and said, not my will, but thy will be done. Now listen, pay attention to this. He said, I don't want to do this. And he said, not my will, but thy will be done. The voice of God was nowhere near that situation. It was Jesus talking to himself. And ladies, this is why self-care is so necessary, because you will develop a positive voice that will allow you to speak back to the negative voice, and which allows you to heal yourself. It allows you to heal yourself. So I'm not looking for the next man to come heal me. I'm not looking for my girlfriend to come heal me. I'm not looking for my mother to come heal me. When you practice self-love, you develop a voice that speaks against negativity, and it allows you to sit right in your room and heal yourself. Let me see who's in the chat. All right, let me see. Tamika Cox, I have photos of myself from years ago. I am dressed, hair, makeup, etc. in exotic locations. And when I look into my eyes, right? You know what they call that, ladies? All dressed up with nowhere to go. All dressed up, nowhere to go. Right? Because the soul is empty. The soul is empty, sis. Look, A lot of you sisters have mastered the art of presentation, right? But what does that do to your mind? What does it do to your mind? When you come home after work, or you come home after church, or you come home after a gathering, you come home after a party, and not only are you trying to take off your clothes, you're also trying to take off the woman that you made yourself be for that moment. Right? Right? Or when you're hanging out with the wrong guy and now you're in the shower and it's more than just washing up. You're trying to wash off a guilt and a shame because you're tired of being less than who you are. You got to pause, sis. I tell you, like I tell the brothers on Dear Brother Podcast, you have to control your pace. See, ladies, you got your money in line, you got your house, you got your degrees, you got everything. You got control of everything but your pace. You can't stop your mind from racing, and you can't stop your soul from running in circles. If you care about yourself, you got to slow down so you can gather you again. Let me see. I needed this. I'm glad, sister. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Let me see. Being mentally drained is the worst. Absolutely. Okay, so this is the thing. Ladies, listen to this. Chantel said being mentally drained is the worst. Let me tell you why. The word imagination, right, is made up of two words, image nation, okay? Your mind is your image nation. Here is your imagination. So what that means is I put an image here. What you have the ability to do, which can be good and bad, you have the ability to create a motion picture from one thought. You have the ability to create a motion picture from one image in your mind. And if you allow your image nation to then start the ball rolling on something negative, it's hard to stop that ball from rolling. This is why I say in the first chapter of the Soul of Sarah, you got to protect your mind more than anything else, because women have two wombs. You got a womb here and you got a womb in your body, right? You got a womb in your body. You got a womb in your mind, right? In the body, y'all know how you make a baby. You understand. I ain't got to go through how you make a baby, but you also have a separate reproductive system. Where is it? The seed of a word, negative or positive, goes into your ear. That seed goes into the womb of the mind. It germinates and grows, and then eventually you speak it out of your mouth. You have two reproductive systems, sisters, and this is why I wrote this book, because you got to learn, number one, that just the same way you wouldn't let any man put any seed in your body, you can't let any man put any seed in your ear. You can't let any friend just put any seed in your ear. You can't even let your family put any seed in your ear. You know why? Because just like your body, once it's in there, the womb will start to develop it. Amazon.com, go get it. Soul of Sarah right now. It's on Amazon.com. And if you want to, if my commercial, listen, I've been invited to do women's conferences. I did one in Georgia about 2 years ago. I just did one a few weeks ago. I would love to come do a women's conference, a man to speak to women. I think that we don't have enough of that. I think we have men's conferences and we don't have a woman there to talk from a perspective we don't have. I think it's the same thing with women's conferences. I think there's too many women's conferences without male wisdom there to be able to impute something that can make the whole thing. What's good is if we both get healed in a corner, but still don't know how to relate to each other. So go to my website if you want me to come. I'll even do a Zoom for a group of women, because this is what we need to do. We need to strengthen each other. Let me see. Facts, heal from family trauma. Yes, a lot of you sisters, but it's easy to blame the man you dated. A lot of times that trauma starts in family. That trauma started with male rejection in family. That trauma started with dad was being half-assed towards you. That started with nobody complimenting you. For some of you sisters, the first time you heard you were beautiful, somebody was about to have sex with you. You see what I'm saying? That's painful. That the first time somebody compliments you is because they're trying to get something from you. That's a painful position. Because then you don't know, or you begin to believe that exchange is the only way to be loved. And that's a dangerous place to be. Sister, you don't have to make an exchange to be loved. Every man that comes in your life shouldn't require an exchange. Let me see. Wow, that's deep, but it's true. Yes, ma'am. Let me see. How to set boundaries and take care of you with therapy. Yes, absolutely. But this is the thing, ladies. I believe in therapy. I'm rocking and rolling with therapy. But guess what? The therapist can only help you at your level of honesty, number one. And number two, therapists allow you to have knowing. But then there's a level of understanding. You can know something, but understanding means you're exercising the knowledge you have to make yourself better. Just going to sit in the therapist's office is just the first step to healing. You would have to move yourself to a place of understanding what's going on so you can use the knowledge they gave you. And the reason I'm saying that, because I hear a lot of women say, girl, I just saw my therapist, like that's her girlfriend or something. Yeah, I'm coming from my therapist. It's almost like at some points therapy became like trending instead of real help. And so to take therapy serious and not just brag on, I got a therapist, like, real therapy moves into understanding yourself and how therapy works within you, not just hearing better. Let me say, I've never been on a presentation, but I realized I was still carrying. I've never been big on presentation, but I realized I was still carrying childhood trauma on Sunday, I still had all my paper awards since elementary school, my newspaper articles from playing basketball, okay, baller, and all my accomplishments. Let me read the rest from down here. All because my mother never affirmed me, and told me she was proud of me. Yes. It took my cousin saying, throw it away. We know you're smart. You have nothing to prove. See, that's a long conversation we can have. I mean, look, I don't mind having it right now. Right? How much pressure is some of you ladies, how much pressure have you put upon yourself trying to prove stuff to people that forgot that they ever insulted you? Right? Because listen, you can drive yourself to try to prove people wrong, but it only hurts you. Let me tell you, because the people you're trying to prove something to a lot of times don't even care. Sisters, you know how many people forgot they hurt you while you're striving to get over that hurt? Right? See, this is what I'm saying. A lot of you got to realize when you're pressed to be great, is not driven just to be great. It's driven because you're trying to prove something to past pain. That's big. That's big, Philly. Thank you for sharing that. That's brave, right? But you know what that is also? Like I just talked about it with counseling and therapy. What you just said means you understand. And when you understand it, you can heal it. If you're just wrestling with it like a cat with a ball, you'll never get healed. But you understand what's going on. That's why you got to slow down, sisters. You got to control your pace so you can understand. Because I'm going to tell you, the enemy against the woman's mind is to keep her indecisive. That's what the enemy does to women. Is to keep you indecisive. Is to keep you going back and forth with your emotions, not able to stand on something. And even when you do, you become unsure of yourself. That's what the enemy wants to do to you ladies. Let me see. Nia, what up, Nia? You just logged on? All right, let me see. What about mothers being jealous of their daughters? Oh, yes. Yes. A lot of mothers raise their daughters to be great, but then once their daughters become great, they hate it. Yes, this is the problem. Some mothers are trying to live through their daughter instead of living for their daughter. Right? A lot of times, a lot of mothers who did not do what she wanted to do for herself. And then there's some women, I'm going to tell you, there's some mothers who get jealous of their daughters because they're watching their daughter live the life with freedom. A lot of mothers never did that, right? And so the question is, let me answer, how do I deal with a mother that's jealous of me? How do you, because it's no different, ladies. There's fathers that are jealous of sons, right? But how do you deal with a mother that's jealous of you? You know what you do? Sometimes, ooh, I feel it. At those points, that's when the student has to become the teacher. Because when a mother's jealous, she's just hurt. And if you have lifted balloons now, I got to stop. I don't know what's going on. Would you have to become the teacher? And you don't have to lash back at your mom. Understand this, ladies. When you have a tough situation with your mother, don't lash back at her. What she needs is the student to become the teacher. She was the teacher at one point. But when you went to discover a level of greatness that your mother never saw, you at that point, you shift yourself into encouraging your mom to get better. Now, why do you do that? Because that's when you start seeing your mother as a human being. That's where a lot of men and women do this. We have problems with our parents because we refuse to see them as human. And so there's some things that we would never expect from a parent. That's because we're forgetting that they're human. Your parents and your mothers hurt like you've hurt. This is the thing. Sometimes your mothers didn't have the support you have. So in order to heal that relationship, see, ignorance says cut them off. No. Integrity, womanhood says become the teacher. Lift your mom up. That's how you handle a jealous, hurt parent. Let me see. Philly, okay, I have 2 therapists at 43. I've been through a lot. I'm thankful for my growth. Absolutely. And the reason why you grew is because you took what your therapist said, understood something about yourself. The reason I'm talking about this therapy, because therapy is not this trending thing. I'm telling you, I've heard women talk about going to their therapist like they talk about going to happy hour. And as soon as I hear that, I know immediately this is just something they want to say they do. They're not really interested in healing. Right? Because it's one thing to take information. It's another thing to know yourself, how to take the information and change your heart. Let me see. Carlene, true understanding is oneself, is true healing. Absolutely. Let me see. Philly, I don't know, bro. My mom is very animated. She yells and screams about everything. Pray for me. Yes. This is the thing. When I say become the teacher, listen, I was a school teacher. I don't know. Let me know if you're a school teacher in the building. If you're a school teacher, let me know. Okay? When you're a school teacher and you got a kid that's animated or yells and screams, you know what you do? Well, what I used to do as a teacher, I used to put the information on there on the table or whatever I'm teaching, and I allowed them to do whatever they want with that. I'm not going to force you to learn. I'm going to offer you an opportunity to learn. See, that's what a teacher is. Teachers offer the opportunity to learn. They don't force you to learn. The best teachers don't force people to learn. They offer an invitation to learn. To see what I'm saying? So it's not about holding mom down and making her do anything. It's about offering the invitation to grow. And if she doesn't want to take that bridge, then leave her on the other side. You didn't cut her off. She decided to stay where she was. Let me see. I have girls whose mother sold them to drug dealers in the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? Now listen. We could listen to this. I'm sorry, y'all. I got to eat a little bit because I've been podcasting since 6 this morning. Okay. So we'll look at a mother like that, right? Who sold her daughters to drug dealers. And we'll say, what a horrible woman. I'm not taking any steam off of it. That is horrible. But what pain, what happened? See, this is where we start to learn grace for people. What happened that got you there? And this is why I think a lot of sisters hurt because you didn't just become who you are. You didn't just make the mistake you did. Something drove you there. And there's very few people willing to listen to what drove you there. Right? Something drove that lady. Right? You see. I am going to eat. Look, my old lady made me some oatmeal, some raisin toast. I'm in it, right? I'm trying. Right? But something happened. What happened? See, we got to consider what happened to these ladies. None of us choose disastrous lifestyles. something pushes us there. Let me get back into this. All right. So number one, self-love allows you to create healthy boundaries in your life. Number two, understand your worth. See, I've been talking about knowing. No, understanding is deeper than knowing. See, there's three elements: wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Understanding is deeper than knowing. You can know a thing, but not understand how it works in your life, right? Understand your worth. Understand your value, right? And you don't settle for less because you understand your value. Now we can talk about something. I'm not going to get into these things about when we women saying I'm not going to settle. That's a whole nother podcast. I'll do another podcast on what settling means, because I think the internet and these bad podcasts have also messed up the word settling, right? Settling. Should we talk about it today, ladies? Should we talk about settling today? Jump in the comments if you think we should talk about settling today. If y'all want me to talk about settling, I will talk about settling. I'll see what you say in the comment. All right? But know your worth. Let me tell you something, sisters. Or understand your worth. Some of you know your worth and still ended up with a bum. How did that happen? How did you know your worth and ended up with a bum? See, what I'm saying is it's possible. It's possible to absolutely know your worth and still end up with the worst person in the world. You know why? Because you didn't understand your worth. I knew my worth, and I still ended up with married to one of the worst people ever in everness. I knew my worth. I didn't understand. Because let me tell you something. If you understood your worth, there's some people you wouldn't even had the first conversation with. See, a lot of these sisters can look back over your life and see that you gave one person a chance because you lowered your worth, not your standard, you lowered your worth. And now this person who didn't deserve a day wound up with 5 years of your life. How does that happen? Right? A lot of times it happens because you allow loneliness to drive your decisions. Mm-hmm. You allow loneliness to drive your decisions. Let me see. All right, I got two more. Let me get in the chat. Let me see who's in the chat. All right. Carlene, I appreciate my daughter's insight to help me see what I truly hurting and need to express myself. Let go of the pain I'm going to see. That's big, Carlene. My God. Come on. Carlene. Come on, sis. That's big. I love when y'all come on here and say brave, vulnerable stuff. I appreciate my daughter's insight to help me see. See what I'm saying? You allowed your daughter to become the teacher. And that's okay. You know why? Because at some point in our life, nobody was there to teach us. So if our kids become the teacher, then learn the lesson. That is so brave. So brave. All right? Yeah, a lot of you didn't understand your worth. So you tolerated things that you shouldn't have tolerated. You tolerated things that you never said you would. Right? And then what I know, I'm gonna say this from a man's perspective. What I know about you ladies is that you lie to your girlfriends. You don't tell your girlfriends the whole truth about situations. You don't. You don't. You tell her, girl, I'm worth more, right? Then 9, 10 o'clock come around and you by yourself and you call that same bum you just said you was worth more than. Why? Why? Because loneliness drives it. Just the same way they say, don't go to the market when you're hungry. Mm-hmm. Don't create intimate relationships when you're lonely. That might be a short. Right? Don't do it. Because you'll always get something that will fulfill you for a moment and then become a disaster for the rest of your life. Right? Instant gratification has hurt a lot of you, my dear sisters. You wanted to feel better. Listen, sisters, you have emotions, but you don't have to worship at the foot of your emotions. Your emotions are not always right. Remember, your emotions are seeking to make you feel better. And sometimes your emotions will grab anything to make you feel better, even if it's a lie. That's why a lot of you you're a wide open door for men to lie to you. Because you're addicted to feeling better. Ladies, men know who they can lie to. Men know who they can lie to. We know who we can lie to. right? Because we know it's obvious when a woman worships at the foot of her emotions because she's a wave with everything she does. You can have emotions, sisters, but you can't worship at the foot of them. They will lead you wrong. This is why we talk about wisdom. We talk about men. Do you understand that wisdom is necessary for women? In fact, wisdom in the scriptures is described as a woman. This is what I tell single men. Don't just look for a woman, look for wisdom. The Bible always describes a woman as wisdom. So what's full womanhood? Body? What's full womanhood? A BBL? What's full womanhood? A breast lift? No, a full womanhood. Full womanhood is self-awareness, authority, wisdom, knowing what to say, how to shift the situation. So you can have a banging body, no wisdom. And I'm going to tell you, if the kind of man you desire, you're going to need wisdom for him. Any man to come through and like your body. But a lot of you desire a certain kind of man. Well, guess what? You have to be a certain kind of woman for a certain kind of man, right? That's for some of you who are over the fact that you look, all you say men ain't nothing but trash. Some of you that know that's not a true statement. Some of you that know there's a brilliant man out there. But sometimes, guess what, ladies? You got to level up for what you want. Because everybody wanted a Barack. But there's very few Michelles. Let's go. Let me see. Let me jump in this chat. I know y'all like, look, I got to get rid of him. I can't stand this podcast. He's a jerk. Let me see. Women settle more in matters of life rather than relationships with men. Settling in career that is not purposeful. Residing in locations just because of family. Avoiding resistance from others. Absolutely. Absolutely. You do, because this is the thing. Because of the nurturing nature of a woman, you go do things out of nurture, but sometimes not out of love. You do it because you feel like you have to. And this is what I'm saying. This is why I do this podcast today. What you have to do is invest in you. You understand? Listen, ladies, it's no different. It's no different than with money, right? You know, you can't not make a deposit in the bank and go get some out. You know that. Like, that's very clear. But a lot of times, ladies, you allow your emotions to forget that it works the same way. If there's no deposit, there is no withdrawal. This is the problem. You're not depositing enough in yourself. Forget other people's withdrawal. Do you have enough for you? Number one. Do you have enough for you? Because a lot of you get enough just to give away to somebody else. But let me tell you something. This is the problem. A lot of you sisters feel like if I can make them happy, I'll be happy. It will never work, sis. You ensuring everyone else's happiness does not guarantee your happiness. I'm going to say it again. You ensuring everyone else's happiness, I'm talking about even your children. You assuring your children's happiness, your man, your family, your mama, your siblings, you ensuring that, because there's no guarantee that the people you sow into will sow back to you. This is why your account must be full for you, by you. We're talking about a revolution of womanhood. Because when you look at these internet streets, there is an implosion of womanhood. There's an implosion. The conversations I see amongst women, it's an implosion of womanhood. This is why I'm on here. I'm on here not to just help you ladies heal. I'm on here to lift you up so you can lift other people up. I am no star. I'm just your brother. I want to see you leave podcasts like this and tell me, hey, Christian, I got 5 ladies coming over my house this Saturday. I'm going to cook breakfast and we're going to talk about healing. Right? Hey, Christian, your podcast moved me. I invited 10 ladies to my house and we're doing a book study on the soul of Sarah. See, that's what I'm looking for. I'm no rock star. This is the problem with leadership. A lot of leaders want to be the leader and the star. There's no such thing. You're the star. Go get this book, Amazon.com. Do a book study on it. Come on, talk so we can talk when I get on here live. Check it out. Amazon.com right now, The Soul of Sarah. Go pick it up. And some of y'all that got a raggedy man, You got a raggedy man in your life? Go pick it up. Go pick it up. Home where hurt men heal. Some of y'all exes, y'all need to get this book and mail it to him. Right? You're not telling him to come home. You're telling him to find home. Go get these books. They're on Amazon.com right now. Let me see. Let me see. You should always have your own happiness, and the people around you should bring additional happiness. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes let me take you further, Philly. Sometimes you can get to a point where you have an overflow of happiness where you can give some away and still have your own. That's when you're cooking. That's when you're cooking as a woman, where you've over invested in yourself, where I can give you some and still not still have less than I had. See, that's when you're that's when you're that's when you've invested so much, you got more to give, and you never come up short. You deserve that. You deserve that. Let me go back to this point because let me see. Let me go back to your point because my mother said something I'll never forget. She said, Christian, a woman should never go from her father's house to her husband's house. She should never. She said every woman needs a gap in between where she can locate herself. I'm adding now. But the concept is sure. No woman should go from her father's house to her husband's house because there's no place where she has grabbed a hold of herself. Or even sometimes, sisters, understand this. It's important to sit down long enough to really embrace your desires. To sit down and embrace your desires. I'm going to tell you, because the nature of a lady, you'll give up your desire for somebody else's happiness. You will. You'll work hella hard for something and give it away just so they can be happy. This is why I'm saying self-care is not selfish. You're made to give, ladies. You're made to love. You're made to serve. That does not mean that there's no required self-investment. And guess what, ladies? Sometimes there's seasons in your life where you only give to you and nobody else. I'm talking about you single sisters. Now, y'all that got kids and husband, you can't do that. You still need to find slots where you can. And if you have a loving husband, he's going to let you. Right? But as a single woman, come on, double, triple, quadruple invest in yourself. Because you're worth that. You're worth that. Let me see. It will break you for sure. Absolutely, it will break you. Let me get back to my notes. In fact, let me go here first. Let me go here. Let me do this. Where is it at? All right. We're in almost an hour. Let's do Dear Sister the Advice before I get out of here. Let's do Dear Sister the Advice. This is my slot where I just talk to you. I give you an opportunity to add any advice you need, dating advice. Look, I'm going through this with my son. Hey, I'm going through this with my husband. I don't understand how he's thinking. Hey, Christian, I'm going through this with my family. Dear Sister, the advice. You can throw your advice in the chat right now. And I got 2 more points to give you. And before I end the show, I'll go back through all of the advice. I got advice for you. In fact, I like giving advice more than I do teaching. So jump in the chat right now. Throw your question into the Dear Sister the advice, and I will answer every question before I get out of here today. Let me give you these last 2 points, and then I'll go back to Dear Sister the advice. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let me track through it one more time. We're talking about why self-love isn't selfish. Number 1, self-love helps you create healthy boundaries. Number 2, self-love helps you understand your worth, not just know your worth, but understand your worth. Again, I'll say what I said before. Some of you wouldn't have let certain friends, men, or anybody else in your life. If you knew your worth in that moment you were exchanging, you wouldn't have never made that exchange. Let me say, self-care is preservation. Yes. It's preserving yourself for a future. It's preserving yourself for legacy. Legacy is not a word for just men. Y'all hear me? Legacy is not a word that's just for men. No, ladies, you create legacy as well. Number 4, men respect confident women. I said men. Men respect confident women. In fact, men admire a woman who has self-worth locked in. Men admired. I said men. I know some of y'all saying, but. No. I said men. Right? I've been dating a year now. You know what made me so down with my lady? Because she had self-honor. She was pursuing something before I came around. She was rocking. She was doing her thing, right? She was building her career. She was doing her thing, right? And guess what? I was happy to engage in that relationship. Why? Because this wasn't a woman I had to carry. This is a woman I can walk with. Every man wants to walk with a woman. He does not want to carry her. And guess what? He doesn't want her behind him. Remember, ladies, you came from the rib of man. You didn't come from his ass bone or his head bone or his foot bone. You came from his rib bone. So not every man has a great woman behind him. If you behind him, that's not great. You got to be beside him because that's where you came from. That's why God took the rib from the side to show a woman this is your position. His side, not his ass. You don't belong under a man's ass or under his feet. Well, Christian, you also said the head bone. Yes, he didn't take you from his head bone because you're not supposed to overlord your man's thinking. You're supposed to be there to support his thinking, help meet his purpose. But what you can't do is try to think for him. And if you got a man you got to think for, you don't have a man. You got a son. Let me see. Self-love fuels better love for others. Yeah, it's simple. You love yourself. It's easy to love others. Let me jump in this chat. Let me see. You definitely helped me get started. Thanks a million times. It helped me. It's helping me heal while teaching. Good. As they went, they were healed. I love it, love it, love it. Let me see. Identity is such a grounding foundation for. Identity is such a grounding foundation for self-love. Who are you? You know why, sisters? You know why? It's such, let me keep that up there. Who are you? Because you know what you do? When you meet a man or meet a new friend or meet a new sister friend that comes in your life, you want to know who they are so that you can love them or not love them. I love this comment by Narisha because this is the question. Have you identified how lovable you are? Maybe that's why some of you battle with this self-love thing because you haven't investigated how lovable you are. Maybe some of you struggle to love yourself because you're loving yourself based on what other people said about you. You're basing your love for you based on what your ex said or what that last pain was. Sometimes, lady, you got to re-identify you. You got to take yourself back from the opinions of people. You got to take yourself back from their identification or the part of you they saw. Now, some of this stuff, they're not making it up. There was a season in your life where, hey, this might have been you, but that's not you anymore. You got to start taking yourself back. Again, because for you ladies, emotions, you carry stuff so deeply, which is a gift from God. But at the same time, some of you are carrying stuff again from your teenage years, from your prom date. And here you are 40, still judging yourself by what some knucklehead 17-year-old said. You got to take yourself back. Take yourself back so you could put yourself back together again. One thing I love is when Jesus said to the man on the cross, the man said, remember me. That's what he told you. He was up on the cross next to Jesus and he said, remember me. Now, I believe that he wasn't just telling Jesus to remember him like you remember somebody in your mind. I think he was telling him, remember me, put me back together again. Oh, I feel healing coming through now. Put me back together. Remember me. My members, my mind is over there. My feet are over there. My emotions are over there. My soul is over there. Remember me. Put me back together so I can see me again, so that I'm not led by how other people see me or led by other people's experience with me. That's my prayer for you sisters today, that God would remember you, not with his thoughts, but go collect you. Go collect you. What's my call to action for you today, sisters? Go collect yourself. Go collect yourself. That's my call to action for all you, my dear sisters on the podcast right now. Go start collecting yourself. Go collect where did you leave your emotions? When did you give up on your process? You know when you did it. You know when you gave up here. You know when you gave up there. You know when you gave up on loving. You know when you dropped the best parts of yourself because you were hurt in those moments. You know. And I dare you, I push you, I demand you to go get a book, a notebook at your desk, at work. I don't care where you are. I command you to get a piece of paper and start writing down the year and the time where you gave up on certain parts of yourself. And I demand you to start remembering yourself. Remember, put yourself back together again. Because once you remember yourself, then you'll remember yourself. And then you'll get yourself together. Oh, man. I'm so grateful for y'all today. I'm so very grateful for y'all today. Goodness gracious. All right. All right. Let me see. We're still in Dear Sister the Advice. If you need some advice, pop on. I'm going to spend about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Some advice about family, advice about dating, advice about men, advice about your children, advice about what you should do next in business. Throw it in there. And I will give some advice before I leave the show for my sisters. Dear Sister, the Advice. Let me see who's in the chat. All right. All right, my dear sisters. Let me see. Philly, I'm in the process of writing a book. Can we chat offline? Go to my website, Philly. Go to my website and set up a one-on-one with me. Okay? It's donation based, so it don't cost you nothing to sign up, right? If you value nothing I say, you don't even have to give anything. It's donation based. We go on there, set up a one-on-one, christianwinners.com. I give advice. I do coaching right there, sisters, okay? Go on christianwinners.com, set up a one-on-one coaching session with me, and we can walk through. I will definitely help you in the book writing process. It's funny, Philly, I was just invited to Scranton, PA, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was a conference speaker at a writing conference. It was fabulous, and so that was fun. So yes, I'll definitely help you walk through that. Okay, all right, sisters. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, spending time with me. I am go to make sure you grab my book, Solar Sarah, on Amazon.com right now. Go to Amazon, grabs the Solar Sarah. Go grab the Solar Sarah. It is changing lives. Also, visit my website, christianwinters.com. You can set up a coaching session with me right there. Again, it's donation based, right? Some people would say, Christian, you're crazy for not charging people. Well, I'm not a capitalist, right? I believe in human capital, and God takes care of me. I made it donation based. So you can go on there right now for coaching, christianwinners.com. Set up your one-on-one coaching with me right now. And always remember, sisters, as we end the show today, please remember, you're valuable. You're valuable to me, but you got to be valuable to you. And when people don't appreciate you, take your value back. Remember, my dear sisters, yesterday is history, and tomorrow is a mystery. All you got is right now. What you gonna do with it? No fear, no shame, no compromise. Sisters, I love you, and I'm gone. My live show will be on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m.